Good evening, I'm Ray Bell. Welcome to Silverstone. We've just come back from Suzuka, which was extremely hot, and now I'm getting extremely wet and I don't like it.
Welcome to Silverstone, the base of motor racing in England, and unfortunately we have to swim this weekend.
Winners of the Suzuka 1,000 kilometers 3 weeks earlier with Japanese colleague Masanori Sakiya, Ray Bell and Maurizio Sala at Gulf McLaren's home circuit of Silverstone for round 10 of the Karcher Global Endurance GT Championship. Second in the series to the West McLaren of John Nielsen and Thomas Boucher, they're looking for a 6th victory this year. It's the first time the British Grand Prix circuit has hosted international sports car racing since 1992, when Derek Warwick and Yannick Dalmas won one of the Group C races for Peugeot. Since then, the circuit's changed dramatically, now just over 5 kilometers, with driver safety a priority. Not as quick as it used to be, technical in some places, but still dauntingly fast in others. Typical British weather does nothing to help the BPR series drivers learn the track. Both qualifying sessions are wet, giving an advantage to the British GT Championship regulars, who are competing here in the 4-hour Norwich Union Empire Trophy race. TBR, Marcos, Lotus, Jaguar and Morgan are all here, pitting themselves against the Ferraris, McLarens and Porsches of the International GT Championship, which, although dominated by McLaren with 7 wins in the 9 races, plus a debut victory in the Le Mans 24 Hours, has seen Ferrari and Porsche take a win apiece. The third overall in the series, behind the Gulf and West cars, despite their less powerful Stadler Porsche 911 GT2 car, are Swiss pairing Enzo Calderari and Lilian Breiner. Lilian takes us around Silverstone in qualifying in far from ideal conditions.
Hello, I'm Lilian Breiner. I will make a round with you on the Silverstone circuit with my Porsche of Stadler Motorsport. Thank you. Okay, coming on the straight for a fast lap. Okay, shifting on 5th gear. Okay, flat out 6th gear. Closing to Cops corner, braking hard, 3rd gear. The curve is closing very at the exit, so it's very slippery with the water. Again, flat out, 5th gear. Here, 4th gear on the water, and braking, 3rd gear. Okay, we're at Chapel Curve. Coming on the 2nd straight. 5th gear. Flat out and 6th gear. Here braking at about 150 meters, 3rd gear, very tight corner. Here it's a lot of water on the street. Braking, 3rd gear at the club corner. Here it's a long right turn. 4th and 5th gear, going to Abbey Curve. Braking at about 50 meters, 3rd gear. Chicane and the farm straight. At the bridge corner, we're coming to the slowest part of the circuit, 3rd gear and remaining on 3rd. To the chicane. It's very difficult to see with all the water from the other cars. Now the pit exit.
Enzo outperformed the rest of the Porsche pack in the wet, but there's several new cars at Silverstone to provide a threat. Among them, Dutchman Cor Oizer's debuting Marcos 600 LM. This is the latest car from Jem Marsh's stable, based on this year's British GT Championship-winning LM600 of Chris Hodgetts and Chris Marsh. The front-engine GT will contest the 1996 BPR series. Cor Oizer told me about his car.
Hallo, mijn naam is Cor Oizer. Dit is ons nieuwe project.
Well, the Dutchman tells us this is our new project for BPR next year in GT racing. It's the Marcos Le Mans 600, built in England. It's a small factory and they make up to 50 cars a year. Well, the car, he said, was ready only yesterday. It's delivered here by the factory, so we had all kinds of teething problems. Gear shifting's not good, the steering's not set up. But aside from that, it's going well. It's a Dutch team with a Dutch crew, and in fact we put the car together at Marcos. We're from Herpen, the team is Team Marcos International, and these are sponsors, Linear Direct, Van Link Group and Ultrafilter. They're small sponsors, but they help us financially. Well, despite its teething problems, the Marcos runs 10th overall of the 32 qualifiers. Among them, British Championship runner-up G-Force Porsche for John Greasley and John Morrison, and the factory Morgan V8 GTR for Peter Morgan's son Charles and Bill Wickham. And also making its international debut is the factory TVR Cerberus, to which driver Mark Hales introduces us.
Hello, I'm Mark Hales, and this is a TVR Cerberus. You won't see one on the roads because they haven't actually sold any yet, although they expect to sell something like 1,000 a year. Difference in this to all TVRs that have gone before is that it's got TVR's own engine. It's a 4.5 litre V8. It produces just over 400 horsepower with the restrictors that we have to run for today's BPR championship race. If you have a look at the engine here, you can see it's very, very small, very light and compact. It weighs something like, I don't know, 160 kilos, and it's been running extremely well. It powers the TVR Tuscans, which is TVR's own race series for, it's a one model, one make series, TVR Tuscans. I won that last year and the year before. And it was time to graduate to something else. But this really is the big league with Ferrari and McLaren, so we're really up against it today. We're in the third class, along with Marcos and the Little Lotus, and I think one of the Callaway Corvettes. Also different about this car is it's got the engine in the front, unlike the McLaren. So if we come along here, have a look in the office. The steering wheel, as you can see, is removable. We'll put it back before we go anywhere. And that's a 6-speed sequential box. Push it forward to change down, pull it back to change up. And the other thing about a front-engine car, which doesn't get mentioned too often, well, it has done whenever I've talked about it, the exhaust runs through the passenger compartment, and it also runs up behind the dash. So it was something like 40 degrees all through the summer. Now it's got a bit cooler. It's actually quite pleasant, but added to the fact that there's no power steering, and you've got the exhaust running through a box in the passenger's side of the car, it makes it very, very hot indeed. Okay, this here is the rear wing, which helps push the tail down on the ground, stops the rear tyres sliding about. And these little things here are known as diffusers. It sucks the air out like a Formula One car, gets it out from underneath and helps it push the tail down onto the ground. Okay, that's a trip round the car. This afternoon we've got to qualify. We're joined by my co-drivers, John Kent, who's the TVR Tuscan champion-elect, although maybe I shouldn't say that because that might be the Murray Walker kiss of no success, and of course by Nick Whale, who has been responsible for putting the whole team together. So, here's to a good race.
It was getting drier and drier, and I had just stayed out there because I thought at the end of the practice we would get a sort of nearly a line to go a bit quicker on. And in traffic I caught up a Ferrari and he spun in front of me, and I didn't know which way to go, left or right, so I chose the right way, or the right hand side, and he just spun the other way, and just when I passed him he hit me, or I hit him, so we had it coming together there, and I had some front damage, so we couldn't do more.
And on this John Nielsen, the West McLaren, missing final qualifying as damage is heavier than at first thought. As Nielsen and Bichir wait in vain. McLaren's Le Mans winning GTR is quietly stripped of needed parts in the back of the Dave Price Racing garage. There's damage too to both factory Ferrari Club Italia F40s. They collided during the only dry moments of final qualifying, and Anders Olafsson misses the chance to take his 7th pole of the year. No problems though for the Harrods McLaren squad, which Olivier Griard has joined alongside Andy Wallace, having left Fabien Giroir's Gicardi McLaren team. Wallace takes the Moody Fayed-owned car to its first ever pole position, as he told me.
It's nice to see so many McLarens, Ferraris, etc. out there. It's a really good field, and this morning it was so wet, anybody could have crashed into anybody else. There were a lot of puddles. If you hit a puddle and you get wheel spin, you go off. It's tricky, but it's also fun, and I think tomorrow the weather's going to be changeable, so it should make an exciting race.
And change it does with a dry start for the Silverstone 4 Hours. Join Andy Wallace in Eurosport on the grid after the break. Will you rejoin me, Mark Cole, on the grid at Silverstone? A wet morning warm-up has given way to drier conditions for the race start here on the grid for the 10th Kircher Global Endurance GT Championship round, but more rain is forecast.
Good evening, I'm Ray Bell. Welcome to Silverstone. We've just come back from Suzuka, which was extremely hot, and now I'm getting extremely wet and I don't like it.
Welcome to Silverstone, the base of motor racing in England, and unfortunately we have to swim this weekend.
Will you rejoin me, Mark Cole, at Silverstone? A wet morning warm-up has given way to drier conditions for the race start here on the grid for the 10th Karcher Global Endurance GT. Andy Wallace and Maurizio Sala, Goodyear and Michelin on their Harrods, McLaren and Gulf McLarens, Gary Ailes, Pirelli for his Ferrari F40, but Pierre-Henri Raffanel not in his place. He missed the grid trying to get an extra lap. He's got our onboard camera. Enzo Calderari, Stadler Porsche GT2, and Thomas Saldana with Prince Alfonso in the Repsol Porsche on 5th and 6th places. Row 3 of the grid. John Morrison has the Blue Coral Porsche in 7th, and Eugene O'Brien 8th in the Augusta Corvette. Alessandro Zanardi in the Lotus and Kurt Euser in the Marcos. The other front runners, well, Michel Ferte's Pilot Ferrari is 31st after a pit lane speeding penalty. West McLaren 27th after Nielsen's crash, and Anders Olafsson's factory Ferrari 6 times on pole this year, also 16th. Green lights. Wallace goes sideways at the start, but leads the 32 cars down the straight into Copse. McLaren, but look behind the Ferraris at the moment, being pushed out by those two Porsches. And the Augusta Corvette of Eugene O'Brien charging through. Our camera car still waiting in the pit lane until the field has passed after the green lights. Pierre-Henri Raffanel has the car well revved up. Out he comes, following another Porsche that was caught in the pit lane. Joins the race. He's down at Stowe. Andy Wallace and the Harrods McLaren from pole position, pushing the car out into the lead. Then comes through Club. This is the car he shared at Le Mans with Derek and Justin Bell. It's the car that's been great performer this year. It's had some very fine showings. It's had a third at Donington, at the moment leading here at Silverstone. And behind them, all manner of smaller GT cars up front ahead of the other fast-running Ferraris and McLarens, but this man leading at the moment from Maurizio Sala. Still in third place, Eugene O'Brien. Going around these twisty parts of Silverstone. Behind Eugene O'Brien, it's Corroiser in the Marcos, then Enzo Calderari, Nick Adams in the Jaguar sideways, Alessandro Zanardi in the Lotus, and then Thomas Saldana in the Repsol Porsche. On board again with Raf. And look at John Nielsen, already up into 9th position, having started 27th. And this is still the first lap. Olafsson in 11th, chasing John Greasley there. Olafsson makes short work of the British Championship Porsche. As we go on board again with Raf catching up the field. Now watch the two Porsches ahead of him. Golf McLaren V12, braking hard for Copse. White Porsche on the inside. Oh, he goes wide, hits the Porsche. He's trying to pass, he's sideways, and look up ahead, another Porsche spinning backwards off the circuit. But Wallace still leading from Suzuka winner Maurizio Sala there in the Gulf McLaren. Eugene O'Brien still third. Calderari though taking fourth, slipping down the inside of Oyser. The GT2 class Porsche. Passing Oyser's brand new, debuting Marcos. Very good looking car this. Then Alessandro Zanardi in the Lotus. Esprit 300 LM on board again with Raffanel. Carving his way through the Porsche back markers. Now well up into the midfield position. 17th at the moment. Going through the chicane at Club Corner. Most of these cars starting on wet tyres, 1 or 2 on intermediates. Corroiser being monstered now by John Nielsen in the West McLaren. Look at the way he's carving past the Lotus. Nielsen takes 5th place from Oyser on the inside at Copse. Then sets about chasing Eugene O'Brien in the Augusta Corvette. The car that's run here from Silverstone by team manager Keith Green. Great fighting all the way through the field here as these quick cars start to come through. Through he goes, past O'Brien. John Nielsen really pushing now in the Dave Price run car from the same stable as the Harrods car. Raffanel now chasing that little British Morgan V8. Really is no contest. Watch this. Bridge corner. Oh, he just blitzes past the Morgan. As we have a look at behind at the battle for 4th place, 3 abreast. And look at Zanardi in the little Lotus, comes straight through on the inside, takes that 4th place away from Corroiser and from Eugene O'Brien, who suddenly finds himself moved from 4th to 6th in one corner behind Nick Adams in the Jaguar. Nielsen now up into 3rd place and catching Maurizio Sala. Race leader Andy Wallace still out front from pole position. What a fine drive in these slightly drying conditions now. Are people starting to worry about these wet tyres overheating? John Nielsen takes 2nd place from Maurizio Sala, but Sala's keeping him the wet bits to save his tyres, heading for the pits. In the number 1 Gulf McLaren, the car that won at Suzuka 3 weeks earlier. Raffanel catches up the Ferrari of Britain's Gary Ailes. Everyone now struggling on these wet tyres as the track dries. Headlights on. Takes the Ferrari on the short run, does he or not? No, the Ferrari just gets that turbo power, 700 horsepower of it, 3.5 litre V8 against the V12 BMW, normally aspirated McLaren. They both go past the backmarker Porsche, head down Farm Straight, under the bridge into Bridge Corner, coming up to the point where Hill and Schumacher collided. Oh, into the pits comes third place Sala in the Gulf McLaren. He's going to put slicks on. Michelin men at the ready to check the tyre wear rate. Do they need to call others in yet? Because the black clouds are starting to roll in again. Sala stays in the car. It's quickly refueled by Michael Caine's GTC team. Just wait for a car to pass. Out he goes. So leader Nielsen. Oh, he goes off at club corner. John Nielsen spins, catches a damp bit. Spins backwards into the gravel. This means that Anders Olofsson now leads the race. Arno Capelli's Corvette comes in for slick tyres. Keith Green stops the car as Nielsen's pulled backwards out of the gravel and manages to get the car restarted back into the race. But now the rain comes. We're on board with Raffanel. All those who change to slick scurry back to the pits for wets, upsetting carefully planned race strategies. This is so typically Silverstone. Olofsson into the pits for wets. Still the leader until this moment. He now loses the lead to Enzo Calderari's GT2 class Porsche. On board with Raffanel into sixth place, but into the pits. We see him arriving from inside and outside the car. Race leader Enzo Calderari, he comes in now. Can take the slicks off he so carefully put on just 5 minutes ago. And Wallace and Griard retake the lead out on the track. Well, conditions really getting bad now. Raffanel rejoins. On board in front of race leader Andy Wallace. The conditions now absolutely terrible. 80 kilometers an hour, the maximum these McLarens can drive at. Doesn't stop Wallace though. He's got his sights lined up on Pierre-Henri Raffanel indeed. Down the hanger straight into Stowe, takes the Gulf car, keeping the lead. But conditions really getting worse and worse now, as you can see from inside the Gulf McLaren. Absolutely terrible. On the start straight, Christian Heinkel in his Ferrari 355 loses it on the straight. The Ferrari Aquaplane slams into the barriers. A lot of back-end damage. And this is going to bring out the safety car. Well, Calderari in second place there. Anders Olofsson in third. And just look how Calderari's little Porsche with the narrower wheels and less power can just go through ahead of those quicker cars. That car of Olofsson really aquaplaning. Safety car out. As we go back on board with Raffanel as he joins the back of the safety car train. And this is how slow you have to drive when you're behind that safety car. First gear in the McLaren. Oh, there's the crashed Ferrari as the field goes by. We're at the restart. Andy Wallace still in the lead, but look, he's got Calderari climbing all over him in the GT2 class Porsche. Oh, and Calderari takes the lead from Andy Wallace. Those narrow tyres and less power, something less of an embarrassment. Calderari, though, is soon out of driver time. He does 2 hours and 10 minutes, which is the maximum. Lillian frantically trying to get him to come in. Pit stop for the second place at the moment, McLaren. Andy Wallace handing over to Olivier Griard, deciding to do a 2-hour shift each as the rain gradually eases off. Race leader Calderari finally comes in, hands over the car to Lilian Brenner, but he's 6 minutes over time and the car is going to be penalised. Out goes Lillian, and on lap 59, Griard is all over the back of the Porsche, takes the lead back as they go into the complex. And Lillian is brought in for a 6-minute penalty for those 6 minutes that Enzo stayed out too long. So Olivier Griard, having changed teams, doing a wonderful job with Andy Wallace. Here in a treacherously slippery and wet Silverstone. Tucking in behind there, the Ray Bellum, Maurizio Sala, McLaren, which had a wrong tyre choice. Well, this man now in second place. Olivier Thévenin sharing with Michel Ferté in the Pilote Ferrari, which won at Andersdorf. The sun's beginning to come out. Lillian takes a penalty and rejoins in 11th place, having led the race. Olivier Thévenin in the F40 heading for second place, being chased by the 8th place Lindsay Owen-Jones in our Gulf camera car. They were caught by a jam wheel and a wrong tyre choice, and like the sister car of Bellum and Sala, which is even further down the field in 10th. The race leader, Olivier Griard, is the next in trouble. He gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's a 60-kilometre limit, but he's far enough ahead of Thévenin not to lose the lead of the race. So it's a fascinating race at Silverstone, now unwinding in its final minutes. And having taken the GT2 lead is Lotus, Alessandro Zanardi and Alex Portman running in 3rd place overall. We saw this car perform so well at Donington. Let's hope that Lotus are going to run 2 next year in the BPR series. They're putting on a great show in the GT2 series. Oizer comes in for his last stop in the new Marcos. He's running in 22nd. Well, Bellum and Sala there in the Suzuka winning McLaren, 10th after that wrong tyre choice, while Nielsen retrieves 5th place. West McLaren is going to win the European Championship. 6th and 2nd in GT2 is the Lanzanti Porsche of Paul Bedell, Soames Langton and Vido Rosler. 2nd also, as we said, in GT2, the Harrods McLaren of Andy Wallace and Olivier Griard, heading for its first win from its first pole position, giving owner Moody Fayed and the Dave Price Racing Team an exceptional weekend here at Silverstone, in front of a big crowd, 15,000 spectators. Goodyear wins with Harrods McLaren. Makes up something for the disappointment of losing the lead at Le Mans after leading all through the night. And Andy Wallace absolutely delighted, as his team boss there, Moody Fayed, congratulated by his parents, as Andy told me.
I can't tell you how happy I am. It's fantastic. It really is good. And out of the car, when you're watching Olivier driving, it's horrible because you're standing there, you don't know what's happening. He did a fantastic job. Brought the car home first, and yeah, just too happy.
Olivier Griard, bon boulot.
Oui, oui. Non, l'équipe a surtout
the team made a great strategy for the race. Olivier told me the team chose the right tyres at the right time, and Andy did incredible work in getting the pole position and then leading the first 2 hours super quick. The win was really down to him. Well, it's 2 happy drivers, obviously delighted with each other. As on the podium, they're congratulated by second place Pilote drivers Ferté and Thévenin, and the 2 Ferrari men who finish in 3rd place, Anders Olofsson and Luciano Dellanocci in the Ferrari Club Italia F40. The champagne goes. Andy Wallace having a bit of a problem getting his open though. Not used to winning in the UK, although he's had some good wins this year in the American IMSA World Sports Car Series. The results of the Silverstone 4 hours 10th round of the Karcher Global Endurance GT sees Wallace and Griard winning from Ferté, Thévenin, Olofsson, Dellanocci in the Ferrari, Zanardi and Portman in the Lotus, Nielsen and Boucher in the McLaren, and that Porsche of Soames Langton, Paul Bedell and Vido Rosler in 6th and 2nd in GT2. Ferté finishing 2nd said it was fantastic for us because we had some bad luck in qualifying. We got a pit lane penalty for speeding, lost our times. We started 32nd, finished 2nd. You can imagine the fantastic work Olivier and I did to finish 2nd. It was a good strategy. I'm very happy for my friends from Harrods. We could have been first, he said, that's life. Race was super, we're happy. The Little Lotus was hunted down by Olofsson on the line, losing 3rd overall to the 700 horsepower Ferrari, but still won the GT2 by a lap.
It's a great result for the team, which has been working so hard, especially, you know, to just be here because the team doesn't have any money. In those respects, Lotus Cars is putting at the moment a great effort to find sponsor for them, and Michelin has given us some very good tires, and we did a great race. I mean, we could have get in the main podium with a bit better strategy because at a certain stage we were just 6 seconds quicker than everybody in the wet, and if you consider that we got about 400 horsepower less than the GT1 cars, that's quite amazing.
Next GT race, Nogaro, France, will be there.